get another live session of a new reading going. I've put some more writing into the new piece. Just wanted to thank everyone that's been in real quickly before we get started. Um, Gotten a bunch of new followers just from going live here, and appreciate that. Um, you know, hopefully everyone is enjoying themselves and checking out different stuff on the channel if you like, and appreciate bringing together a community of people in the chat and again, like I said last time, I don't know how long to keep going before people start popping into the chat and start chatting, but I'm going to continue on with the reading from where we were yesterday. Again, this is the flower maker. That's, I think, where the name's going right now. I think it's got a little something to it. I thought the beekeeper was a little, maybe that's been used before. And a little too over, I don't know. But so like the flower maker leaves a lot of, I think, wonderment about what the concept of the novel might be. But anyways, thanks everyone for tuning in. I'm going to do another reading. Last time we left off, the narrator had entered the story and he was starting to explain some elements of our main character, which is this artist. And this artist is kind of like, it's like a day in the life of him. It's an epic's going to go on, but he's having like an art show at the end of the day, and through that, there's a lot of like life experience and concepts and digressions. And hopefully, I guess what I'm trying to get out of it is just going for it and writing in a way that's just me, and where I can kind of write an idea from my perspective as an author and make my own novel idea out of it. Anyway, so last when we left off, um, the narrator was talking about this artist imagining a world where there's a beekeeper and this flower delivery guy is actually like this scientist who's genetically enhancing um, exotic specimens of flowers, and that's going to be a theme that's going on. It's going to be a little bit difficult. I want the novel to be difficult because there's going to be a lot of stories. It's going to be stories within people's minds, and then a story going on the outside in the everyday world. Um, Kind of like we all have. It's trying to be a real psychological novel, if I can. Anyways, that's where we left off last time. I'm going to get started right away. Like I said, I don't want these videos to be too long. I want them to just be me reading the work and then saying hi to a few people in the chat when you guys show up. All right. So, yeah, last where we left off was the beekeeper. He's imagining that. And the narrator's still talking. By now, the picture had started to become clearer. He wouldn't be a man in the clouds looking down 200 years from now at people admiring his work for its use of light and shade, the particular colors chosen to re-represent life. It didn't work like that. But still, he thought, what would I know? Meaning had become the nectar he was searching for in art, how to extract it and distill it. Then put it under a microscope of the mind's eye, where the meaning can expand and seem limitless, universal. The beginning part of his adult life, he'd had an obsession with falling in love, and he'd worked many odd jobs to support the habit. And at these jobs, he'd spent the time daydreaming about little inventions, simple as a paperclip. Where did they come from? And could he think of such an idea? Countless hours imagining the tiniest useful creation. He started to have multiple ideas a day, but soon found most of them already available for same-day shipping on Amazon. Then, after a time of years in his search, ideas began to appear involuntarily. Like a bite from Grandma's tea-soaked cookie, an image in nature would appear before him, and a flood of thoughts would rush the gates. And it may take him hours of sitting or wandering to unwind the knot and pick the lock, a puzzle inside the soul. It was somewhere in that abstract place between worlds. If you could only recognize it, you could draw meaning. And then that meaning would infest the work with livestock and fertilize the grass to grow. And eventually the whole image could be made of meaning. A wonderful ecosystem feeding on itself and thriving. But then it will meet its end, as all things brought to life will surely do, overused or spread thin and commercialized. And then again would be the dreadful, sick, heavy thought, the weight that hangs in invisible shadows. What's the use? And so would begin the process again of belief. Where can it be found? When sometimes it seems so easy to find water in the flood. Now, it's quite disassociate of me not to explain my part, or shall we say, our part in the whole mix of this story. But if we could get this creature of flesh to get the gears in order, to propel himself towards heroic acts, then perhaps some of our secrets could leak out into the known. For instance, recently I've noticed him pulling away from the painter's life and delving further into writing. This transition from painter and poet to musician and filmmaker has guided him perfectly to the page. And lately, more and more, we've been able to seep through and into the ink. Last year, he wrote a Gothic dystopian play about an emperor who erases history and everyone speaks in backwards talk or confusion. Then wrote a novella about a utopian town somewhere over the hills, about generations and times of struggle and heroes. He was most proud of this work above all his others so far, and had even received acclaim from the few who read it. Neither work had been published, and in fact, getting an article published had been his most recent endeavor. Now we know why we're here, and we can see this angle of the artist. I would say, don't worry too much about me and what we're doing here. That will all reveal itself. Now that you know, we can move on to the more pressing nature of the story, or stories within. It was an apartment of some taste. The views from the window were splendid, and there was a nice porch to sit on to watch the sunsets in the west. The third-floor heights gave a better look at the surrounding area, though it was a pain for any other practical apartment use, such as coming and going. But it did well for an artist's space, some solitude. When I said some taste, that is to say, the best spot in the building, and a decent spot in the city, North End zip code. But the building was still filled with cockroaches and bedbugs and folks just on the border of homelessness. For instance, a neighbor up the hall could be found sleeping sometimes in the hall as his girlfriend or wife was pimped out in their apartment. The mentioned endeavor to procure a published article had yielded zero results, other than another small essay he was quite proud of. A trip to the fair had excited that part of himself we spoke of, as a fair can do. With so many individuals to see and events to ponder and treats to have, child and nostalgia is within grasp. His orphaned niece had been sick and not wanted to go, and his relationship with his stepfather being that of Germany and England in 1940, it would be just himself and his mother enjoying the annual traditions, without the focus of the ride section of the fair, which, unbeknownst to him, held at the very same time an ex-girlfriend of some importance, now treated mainly as a lifelong sister or friend, who was there with her son, one of the catalyst heroes and main character of his novella. They would not bump into one another, and only finding out the next day of the coincidence. But this respite from the rides for a year gave mother and son a chance to explore other parts of the ground. That's what we got right now. It's going to move on to this other piece that I have called Canopy Fair, which I think I've posted already. Yeah, I have posted already on my channel. If you want to check Canopy Fair out, that's literally going to be the next essay that's in the novel that's going to be showing the artist's work. Just want to say hi to everybody that's on in the chat. Be yourself, like that name. Awesome. Thank you for subbing. Thank you. Cool. Glad to have you here in the community. We got, well, that's one. Cortifax. Cool. Hi, man. We got Dirt Doorman. What's the use of a people bungle? Poopy bungle. That's a good question, I think, actually. I'm not sure the use of that. Maybe you might be able to tell me. I don't know. But thanks for tuning in, and thanks for chatting. Appreciate everyone who tuned in, and we got a couple likes up there, so that's awesome. Appreciate y'all. I've been doing these live videos, trying to keep them short because they take a while to kind of like upload and all of that stuff. And but we have been getting followers through it, and that's great. So we can build a little bit of a community, and maybe I don't know, more people can get involved. That's great. So I'm enjoying the live videos, just trying to get some of the most recent writing out of the new book. Thinking of calling it The Flower Maker. That's what we're going with right now. But anyways, I think we got everybody in the chat, so appreciate you all for tuning in, and we're going to clock out, and maybe we'll see you tomorrow again. Thank you.